Okay, so I just showed you guys how to use the symbol palette, right? And the idea that if you build that really simple shape and put it in there, it just sort of cuts down all those clicks. There's no sense in having to build a half circle over and over and over again. You've got one in there ready to go. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna build a set of these things, right? And then I'm gonna save that into a nice, easily downloadable Adobe file. I'll save it back a bunch of versions so you guys can come and grab this thing. But what it's going to be, it's just going to be rudimentary shapes. And you can take those things and plop them into your symbols palette and then learn how to go, give them the right names and the right, so you call them either a little movie clip or a graphic, if I remember correctly, but just figure that thing out, or do a web search for symbols, right? And, a web search for symbols, Adobe Illustrator, and see how they tell you how to use these things. But here's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build a set right now so you've got some fodder to play with and start plopping those things in there. So I'm gonna build a bunch right now, and yeah, here it goes. Okay. So I'll just walk you guys through here, but I'm just gonna build, a bunch of fun stuff fast. So the one thing to think about is I'm making this a 1-inch little square here, right? You just want to make sure it's a simple 100% black. So let's go find that. There it is, 100K black. Cool. So there's a square. Now we take this off to the side, and now you've got a diamond, right? Cool. All right, let's go make some sort of little cool little trapezoid or something, like a little badge doodad here or something. So I'll just quickly do this thing. And now what you're doing is you're taking that square and you're just giving that thing just a little bit of a tweak, and you've got this next little shape. So here I'm going to grab my little star tool, right? And this thing, now check it out. Going up and down, you can add little points in the star, right? So if you just want a 5-point star, there is one. There's a 5. Now check it out. If you hit Shift and then Command, that allows to mess with that. I don't even know what you call it, the armpits of each or something, right? But if you hit Option and Shift, that makes it into a perfect star. See that right there? So I'm just going to build you a star. So that's using the star tool. There's a couple different ways you could do this. You can go and build a triangle lots of different ways, but with this one, when I start that thing out, it's starting as a star. You go down a couple clicks. Now you have that triangle. You have to get the little armpit figured out by hitting Option. It just makes it into that perfect little piece, right? See that? So there is your triangle. So that is the star tool, and you're hitting Shift Option, and then that Shift keeps it, from skewing any which way, and then that Option keeps that thing straight along. You lift the Option up. See, it's going back into that weird little armpit piece. Now, if you hit the Command, that allows you to tweak that armpit piece, right? See that? All right, there it is. A triangle real quick. Cool. Okay, now I'm going to go make a pentagon. So grab your Polygon tool here and get that thing going. Now it's built into that pentagon shape right now, but if you go down one arrow click, now it's 4-sided. You go up one, now you have 5 sides. Hit that Shift, you have that perfect pentagon, right? Same thing again over here. You've got your Polygon tool. Go up 1 click, and now you've got that hexagon, right? So there's your hexagon. Now check it out. That's on that one axis there, but what we'll do here is we'll make it one more 30-degree turn, because that's going to be sort of like a beehive kind of shape, right? So if you go 30 degrees, because what we're doing here is we're just making efficient shapes for you to grab and load into your symbols palette for later on, right? Now I'm going to make like a little home plate shape, right? So I'm going to grab this little 6-sided little hexagon over here. Now if you notice here, this is kind of a tricky thing. The way because we took the bounding box from this, we took it over to this 30 degrees tilted, but see, you can see where it tilted the entire bounding box with it. Here's how you remove that thing, right? So if you go under Object and go to Shape, expand the shape, now go under Transform, reset the bounding box, that thing snaps that thing back, right? So now it's on this nice axis, because if you look at all these, they're all on that right axis. See right there? Now this one right here is going to be a little bit trickier, because when you go and you take the path, it's just a 45-degree tilted square, and you take that, go into your shape, expand the shape, and then go into Transform and reset the bounding box. Now you've got that bounding box. You can see the bounding box is there, the bounding box is there, and now this one here, because if we go remove this top piece, make a little home plate shape, right? That's yet another little odd shape you can put in your symbols palette. So let's kind of organize these real quick. And this kind of just goes back into like, this is what you're going to see later on in the download, right? So, okay, these are just sort of simple shapes, and I'll just clean them up and kind of using my align palette. I'll do the vertical align center, and then I'll go do the horizontal distribute center. It just sort of cleans up that little line a little bit, right? Because if we're going to go into the next thing, which might be like these like circles. So here's a circle, but what I would recommend is go give it a safe, just a different color, right? So 50% gray. So these just sort of bounce off. These are your rounded edges, and then up here are your squared off edges, right? So let's just go over here and let's just quickly make these little shapes that we're going to load into your palette later on. And here is, a half circle pointed, pointed, I don't know, up or pointed down. Let's flip it back around. So now it's like a bowl, right? And you can see, if you want to get real nerdy with this stuff, you can, this is just shaving off. If you need that half moon shape pointed this way, now you've got these pieces where when you load them into your palette, that's that many less clicks to get to that little piece, right? And the idea is this. It's like, if we're going to go make a face real quick here, we make this, and then we say, okay, here's a little eye, and then here's a little star for the little, kiss eye or something. All right, cool. By the way, Gene Simmons can suck it, and that one's on the record for life. All right, there you go. All you Kiss fans out there buying all those stupid lunch boxes and shit and whatever else. Kiss, man. Okay, back to where we were. We'll leave that star. But now we just changed all these pieces. So another one to think about is just sort of a quarter circle, right? So if you get rid of this piece, and I'm not, it's going to take me a second to get this thing perfect. You make a point, you bring it out, you touch it up over here. Lots of ways to do that. You use your Pathfinder to divide it, and just go get that last little piece right here. Get rid of this one. All right, so I'm catching myself here, right? And when I started to build these things and build them quick, I said something about it being at 1 inch. Well, this one's not quite at 1 inch, so let's go get it to be the 1 inch, right? So there it is, it's 1 inch now. This one is, you just want to have nice round numbers when you blast these things out of here. Let this one be 1 inch tall, we'll say. Because then you're snapping, it's snapping into a nice size when you pull it out of these pieces, right? So all these are going to be 1 inch tall, right? What those things do is when we align those things nicely now, as you're pulling them out, the idea is this. If you say you hit Command, comma, and it turns on your little grid here, and then you do a Shift Command, comma, and that means you're going to snap to the points now. When you pull one of these out of here, that thing snaps nicely into a space. You see that, right? So the same thing goes for this little, this little shield or something, this hexagon. When that thing snaps out of there, that thing right now is 1 inch wide. It snaps nicely into those pieces, right? So this is just the efficiency of, like, say, for me as a logo designer, as I'm building out a page of 100 logo options or 50 logo options or 10 or whatever it's going to be, I'm using the symbols to my advantage and then also using the grid to my advantage, because really all this is about is, as I'm blasting through, I'm building simple things with simple shapes using the subtraction method and all this kind of stuff, but I'm also working towards that presentation. If I'm working on a logo, it's really the goal is to get a paycheck, right? But you're using these tools to your advantage. So, okay, what we've got here, just in this sort of gray little zone here, is you've got a circle broken down into these 9 little parts. But what's cool about this now is if you pull that into your symbols palette and you name it the right thing, which would be like, I don't know, 9 o'clock to midnight or something, whatever that little shape and that little piece is, to go build with this thing now, you've got some nice math to work with, right? So for me, making all these fun little thick line shapes and stuff, you can see what I'm doing here is I'm using that nice math, and I'm doing just taking that one symbol piece, and I'm taking that little guy and allowing it to be just this little rainbow thing here, right? Now that little cluster, you can do a mountain of things with, right? Like there's a cool little S, right? But I'll just go add a couple more little stars and stuff, and here's a star. But once again, give it another color, right? Just give it a little bit of a lighter gray, because it's just going to delineate within, or here, we'll give it a little bit of lighter gray with a little hit of blue, right? So that just delineates within your symbols palette. You go from these squares and trapezoids and triangles down to these rounded forms, the circles and the little pieces of each of those circles, and now down to these different little stars and stuff. So let's go do a star. Let's do a 6-pointed. Little Star of David there, right? So there's that. And let's get, let's do like a 7-point or something. So grab your polygon tool, you're holding shift, hit up arrow. You can see here, there's a 7-point little thing. Now, what's cool about this now is like you're arming yourself. These are like, maybe that's like a sheriff's badge or something. But the idea is this. I'm messing with that. It's up to you to customize these pieces and then plop your little proprietary pieces into that symbols palette. Because when people ask me things like, well, Draplin, I keep seeing this one shape. Where did you get that shape? I've been carrying that shape along for years. For instance, this shape right here. So, you grab your circle tool here and go just make a quick oval. You're holding that option to keep it in that center. Now, if you hit shift, it's going to go back to that square. So you're just holding that option to keep it in that little center. Otherwise, it's all over the place coming off that corner, wherever you clicked. Hit the option, keep it in that center, and just make a nice oval. Now check this little shape out, right? So you do this oval first, grab it again, Command C, Command F, hit it real quick, turn it 90 degrees. And what we're looking at is we're looking at the space on the inside. So what I'll just do is I'll do a quick little multiply on this piece. You go to your transparency tool palette, do a multiply. That's the space we want in there, right? So when I take this thing out, now I'm not just going to go knock this thing out just yet, but we're making another cool shape. So check this out. Now, if I take this thing and I keep track of it, now watch this. We're going to go off here. We're going to make that, and we're going to use the Pathfinder, and we're going to use the intersect. So there's a cool shape right there, right? There's a cool shape you can put into your symbols palette. We'll do it again. Grab those two pieces and come down here and tweak this yet again, right? So these things are live. So if you bring this thing out, now you're getting that cool piece on the inside of there, right? Use your intersect tool. There's another little badge you can put inside here, right? So that said, go play around with these things and command this stuff. Because now if we take that guy yet again and take it 45 degrees, there's another cool little shape or holding space. And I know that we've talked about this in these last bunch of things, but remember, something inside a shape is a safe place for it to live because you still have the nice symmetry of the shape to guide the entire form. So whatever you put in there, be it a piece of type or a little icon, these shapes become kind of these little safe spots, for anything that packs inside there. So, that said, because here's the deal. Like you take a look at this and you just made this cool shape and we grab one of these little pieces and we plop it inside there, you've got this cool little kind of like app kind of looking thing now, right? So I'm giving out a lot of my tricks, but it's up to you guys to go and make your own pieces and then load up your symbols palette, the things that you're comfortable with, and then use these pieces in new ways. So, if we take a little audit here and go back and say, okay, let's put that shape in there. Let's make sure it's a nice round number, 1 inch. There it is. Let's bring this guy in here. Let's make it just a 1/2 inch tall. Okay, so when it comes flying out of there, I'm making it 1 inch tall. So when it comes flying up, but see, those are now you have those pieces, and I'll just do one more quick one here. I'm gonna make you guys a pill shape, right? But we're gonna do it the wrong way first, using all these cool things that the sort of Illustrator will provide you, and then we're gonna make it the right way so we have it bulletproof. Okay, so here we go. Turn on your grid. So that's Option, comma. Make sure that thing snaps to the point. Right now it's snapping to the point right now, but if we had that thing turned off, you have to go turn it back on by using Shift, Command, comma, and that turns on so you can snap around. If you make a 1 by 2 inch shape, right? Because you're thinking a little pill shape, right? Now check this out. The quickest way to do it, and sort of the wrong way, is if we take that thing off to the side and we grab those 4 corners and we just quickly round them down to a 1/2 inch. Check out what happens here, right? That looks good, but it adds another little point in there. And that's dangerous because later on when you're tuning these things, that extra point, it's just dangerous, But see, we're allowing the default of the machine to round that corner, and we're not using the architecture in the proper way. The better way to do it is go back and grab that circle that you built a little bit ago, right? Put it down below. Take the bottom part off, Command X, Command F. That just pastes it back in place. Snap it down to the bottom of that 1 inch by 2 inch. And now just add these pieces in and connect those pieces, right? Using your pen tool, you're just connecting those pieces. So you've got this pill shape now, and we're just going to give it that same blue color. And then what you want to do is maybe just do one where there's the pill shape vertical and the pill shape horizontal. So, all right, let's just pull back for a second. You know, what we've got here is we've got 8 shapes there. We've got 9 shapes here. We've got another 7 shapes here. So now I'm going to go clean up this thing. And then later on, at this link right here, you can go get this thing, right? And download this thing and play with these things and put them into your symbols palette. Look at me messing with the link. I'm tilting it. I'm squishing it. Don't ever stretch type. I'm stretching it for a second, living on the wild side. But here, take this link and go download this thing and play with it and learn your symbols and add to it too, all right? Add to it too. All right, link away.